This common gardening mistake cost me big. Don't let it happen to you. Hi, it's Steph. Welcome back to my garden. Remember the tree that I planted here that got way too big? Well, today I'm sharing the full story, what went wrong, how we fixed it, and the beautiful new tree that we purchased as a replacement. So let's go back in time and we're going to give you a recap of what took place and what led us to this moment. About 12 years ago, when I was a new gardener and I had a new from scratch landscape, I planted this tree here because it was called a baby blue eyes blue spruce. And I was under the assumption, incorrectly, that it was a dwarf, and it is not. It has gotten much too large for this corner and will eventually, unfortunately, have to be removed. So a cautionary tale of mine hopefully serves as a lesson to you to really pay attention to the growth size on those tags. Whatever they say, believe them, and even add a little bit more space, because over time, evergreens, if they are happy, will grow. I've talked about this tree a few times on the channel, and it's something I'm really conflicted about. It has gotten quite large and it's only going to continue to get larger. And George has had to trim the backside because it's rubbing on our siding and it has already gotten taller than our home. So while the arborist is here, we're going to have him remove the tree and grind down the stump so that we can plant something in its place that's going to be more size appropriate. We also considered having the tree dug up and moved, but it is a process that's quite expensive and there is no guarantee that this mature tree would survive the transplant. We even contacted local towns around the holidays to see if we could donate this tree for a tree lighting ceremony. We even had one person come out to look at the tree, but because the back has been buzzed down and it's only pretty 3/4 of the way around, they couldn't use the tree. So we've exhausted all of our options, so unfortunately this tree does have to get removed. Well, it's been a few days since I last filmed. The arborist had come by to do some tree work for us, and while here, they did take down this spruce. And it is bittersweet. I'm sad that it's gone, but I'm also excited about the prospect of looking for a new tree that will better fit this space. Well, friends, it's been about a month since we had to remove our Colorado Blue Spruce, and I've been on the hunt for a very specific conifer as a replacement. And I called a couple of my local nurseries that carry the Isley conifers to see if I could locate this conifer, and I had no luck. So I went onto the Isley website and I did the nursery locator, and I found a few more nurseries a bit further out from me in Massachusetts. And so I had to drive an hour and 15 minutes to this garden center called Kennedy Country Gardens in Situate, Massachusetts, and just look at all of these beautiful conifers that they have available. Here it is. It is the engelmannii bush lace spruce, or Picea engelmannii bushes lace. It is a stunner, and this one is going to have that same pyramidal shape but in a downward sweeping habit. Look at this. So sort of a weeper, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tree loaded up and paid for.
That's a very, very cool tree.
My tree is loaded up and it's ready to make its journey home. And this is exactly why I love my minivan. I can fit lots of plants and trees in here. So it really is the gardener's perfect car. Well, it's been a couple more weeks since we brought home this beauty, the engelmannii's bushes lace spruce. And it has put on quite a bit of growth. It has all of its new spring growth on the tips that is really pretty and soft. And we had to hold off on planting it because we needed to have the stump ground out. When the arborists were here originally, the ground was really wet and we didn't want them driving it on the lawn, the stump grinder, for fear that it would damage the lawn. But while they were here recently grinding the stump, there was a little bit of a mishap, and George is over here addressing that. George, what are you working on?
So we have a broken sprinkler line. It wasn't their fault. Well, when they came here with the stump grinder, their focus was just getting rid of that stump. Unfortunately, in the path was this sprinkler line that feeds this sprinkler. We had the sprinkler marked and I thought maybe we'd get lucky, but we didn't. So I'm gonna repair this, and what I found was this week, looking for some of these irrigation parts, it was a little challenging because I was searching for stuff at the big box stores and on Amazon, and I just needed a little piece of pipe to make this work. So when I did some more Google searching, I came across this company that I had no idea existed, Site One, and They have a bunch of stores across the United States, but not sponsored, just mentioning how it was so easy to go there. I brought in the little sample of pipe I needed, and they literally had the pipe by the foot. I bought 3 feet, and they had all the connectors I needed. Super easy. So now I'm gonna get to repairing this irrigation hose.
Friends, look at this, my dirty little garden secret. So many weeds in this area. So for those of you who think that my garden always looks pristine, I thank you so much for your kind words, but I assure you that there is a lot of weeds to be dealt with. Look at this. This area, of course, is where the tree was. It was taking up a lot of this volume, but now that the tree is gone, the sun hits this soil and the weeds went crazy. That and the rain that we've been getting. So while George is working on this irrigation line here, I am going to do a little bit of weeding.
All right, so I just cut the pipe nice and clean so we can add our coupling. But if you notice in here, there's a bunch of debris from the grinder and all the work that was happening. So I'm gonna need to turn on the irrigation and run some water through here to clean out this pipe, but I'm gonna need your help because the water's probably gonna go everywhere. You're gonna have to direct this somewhere back there.
Okay.
All right. Actually, if we try to bend this, it's gonna kink. So just hold it like this and it'll shoot it right into the bed that way. All right, I actually thought the water was gonna shoot out, but it didn't, so we have a little bit of a puddle. But I'm gonna use this torch to warm up the pipe to then get this coupling in there a little bit easier. Okay, I just cut the pipe to meet up right here with this coupling. That side's all set, so now I'm just gonna warm this up and make this connection. All right, so this is all set. I'm gonna run inside, turn on this irrigation zone, and make sure that all the sprinklers work as they should. All right, so the irrigation looks like it's all set, and this plant container is the same size as the new tree. So I use this as a gauge, and it fits perfectly fine. It's just a little bit above the surface, which is what we like to do. So now we have a perfect hole for the new tree.
I was able to get all of the weeds in this area cleaned up. Those are baby seedlings that you see in the back there. So that was productive. And now we have a storm rolling in. So it looks like we'll have to wait a few more days until we can plant our new tree. Well, it's been a few more days since we had a storm and we're able to come outside and do some work, but that's how it goes sometimes. And today we're going to do our planting of our new tree. And this will be the easiest planting job we've done in a while because the stump grinder took care of making a nice hole for us. Wanna feel your arms around me. I need you more, need you here, more than I would like to admit. Slight change of plans, as it so often happens in gardening. So the hole that we had made by the stump grinder was going to be perfect because we wouldn't have to dig. However, you can see that there's this irrigation pipe in the center. If we placed the root ball of the engelmannii spruce here, we would only be 2.5 feet away from the wall. And because this tree's 10-year garden size is 6 feet wide by 25 feet tall, we didn't want to run into the same issue we did originally. So what we did was we decided to try digging in front of this irrigation pipe here and place the tree a little bit further out. So now from the center of the tree to the corner of the house, we have 4 feet, which gives us quite a bit more space to have a buffer. So that's what we're going with. And you can see up above won't be a problem. There's plenty of clearance for the tree to grow tall. It's almost like I can't stop, yeah. I always knew that this would happen, yeah. You would find a new distraction. Need you more, need you here, more than I would like to admit. Can we let go of tomorrow, yeah. You never break, you never lie.
You're never ever scared of the dark. So why am I the one who cries? I'm so afraid to be left behind. I think about you a lot. It's almost like I can't stop. Can't stop. Yeah. You never lose an argument. So I've been trying hard to pretend that I'm okay. It's just a phase, and everything is going just great. I think about you a lot. It's almost like I can't stop.
Well, this is a full circle moment. What used to be here, a Colorado Blue Spruce, has now been replaced with something that's more appropriate. And what I should have done back 12 years ago when I planted that tree was read the tag. If I had done that as a novice gardener, I would have known that that Colorado Blue Spruce was going to get somewhere between 25 and 30 feet in height and about 10 to 15 feet in width in about 10 years. And after 12 years, the canopy had already reached 10 feet. It took up this whole corner. Everywhere that you see mulched is how far the wingspan of that tree reached. And so now we have this Bush's Lace engelmannii spruce, which has more of a downward kind of weeping habit. And this one here, you can see, is such a beautiful tree, is going to get 25 feet in height and 6 feet in width in about 10 years. And it's got a growth rate of about 15 inches per year. And it's a more narrow, upright conifer, and I think it's going to look really beautiful in this space. And so that we don't make the same mistake twice, we made sure to give it ample space by measuring out from the corner of this stone bump out and from the corner of the house. And now you can see that it's got plenty of room to grow to its beautiful full potential. You might have noticed when we were done planting and before we applied our mulch that we put down some sheets of cardboard, and that is something that we do often in our garden before we mulch, and it's done strictly for weed suppression. And we use 4x4 sheets of pallet cardboard, which is nice clean cardboard to sheet mulch with. And I left the border open here because I still plan on planting some more plants in this area, and once I do that, I can go ahead and apply the rest of the mulch. But if you are interested in this engelmannii Bush's Lace spruce, I will put the direct link with all of the specs to this plant down below, and I'll also include the Isley nursery finder so that you can locate a nursery near you that carries Isley plants. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.